This is the standard. This is the work. This is the mindset behind the results. Built, not bought, earned, not given. This is the room where leaders are different. Built through consistency, proven through execution. Hosted by Michael Sweigert. Inside the champion's herd. At ALCOVA Mortgage.
Welcome to Inside the Champion Circle, powered by ALCOVA Mortgage. Your host, Michael Sweigert, sits down with top producers, industry leaders, and some of the most well-known mortgage influencers in the world and engages them in high-level conversations on what it takes to be elite in the mortgage industry. ALCOVA Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 40508. Michael Sweigert, NMLS ID 1240868, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to credit approval. Grab a drink, put your headphones on, and enjoy this week's guest, Stephen Knorr.
Yeah, because you are Mr. How did you get into racing? Was it you that started it? Was it your kid? How do you get into racing?
It's fourth generation. So my grandfather raced NASCAR in the early days when it was called Grand National. It was like right when NASCAR was getting started. And then he owned two racetracks, and he owned one of them and promoted another one in Indiana. And then my dad raced, and my dad was racing super late models, like on a path to, big time automobile racing. And he had me at 20 when he was in college and shut that shit down, got a job. And that's how he got into it. He got a job in finance, but it was really repo and TVs and stereos. And then that led to personal loans. And then that led to mortgages. And then that moved us from Indiana to St. Louis to North Carolina. And he owned his own company and had to shut that down due to some fraud that one of his LOs was doing that shut down a bank. And then about that time is when I graduated and we started up our first broker shop together, and so on and so forth. But I did not race because I was such a big kid. I raced a little bit, but my son is technically like a fourth generation racer.
Okay. So you were too big to race?
So two things. We were too poor, and I was just a huge kid, dude. I was like 6 foot in fifth grade. Like when we moved to North Carolina, they called me Bigfoot. And so in racing, like size and weight is not a good thing. Most racers are little shrimps, other than like Michael Waltrip and a few others. But yeah, those were the two variables that prevented me from racing was, number one, money, and number two, size.
So I had a buddy when I was in high school, and he what is it? Is it stock cars that go on? So no, which ones? So stock cars are the
full body cars.
They're like little, right?
Midgets, micros, yeah, those type of things.
Okay, his was like a pretty good sized car, so I don't know.
Stock cars are like, that's a general term for like just a full bodied like car that races, Okay. Then there's like, modifieds, late models, sprint cars, NASCARs, all different types of hybrids of the stock car.
Okay. Well, he was like 6'6", so obviously it wasn't
that's a big racer. Yeah. Michael Waltrip 6'6", and that Carson Hoceper is like 6'5".
Yeah.
But most of the time they're, horse jockeys.
This is real small. Yeah. Okay. I've just never done it. I've never been to a race either. So I've never, even from rural Northeast Ohio, we have a Wayne County Speedway. That's real big. I remember Tony Stewart used to come race there all the time. It was it was just a dirt track, and it'd be like every single person from Wayne County that would be like our Super Bowl for the year. Like, yeah. Tony Stewart's going to be there this weekend, so get out there and watch him. But I mean, I know the names. I know you turn left. So that's all I know.
Yep. Turn left and go fast.
Go fast. Well, yeah, no. So thanks so much for joining. This is, you said something as soon as we got on. So you were telling about kind of like your early life story into lending, and from your dad and then to you, but you said open up your own broker shop. So it's interesting because when I got in the industry, that's when brokers were like, no. They were just nobody, they weren't around anymore after the crash. And I think almost every single person that we've had that hasn't started their career with ALCOVA started at a broker shop.
Yeah, and I mean that was, that was a different era of lending, right? That was right at the tail end of the subprime, height of no rules, no regulation, you get a loan, you get a loan, you work at McDonald's, we'll state that you make 100 grand and get you a loan. So I came in the tail end of that, which was like '05 and '06. And really there wasn't a lot of mortgage bankers at that point. There was banks and then there was broker shops. But, in my area, which was a rural area outside of Charlotte, we were one of the first companies to actually offer FHA loans. And it was a big deal. Like nobody did them back then. Like we flew in trainers and they trained us. It was unheard of. No one did FHA loans at that point. So it was more specialized, but it was also, it was appropriate at that time to be a broker. The bonding was affordable and there wasn't a lot of them out there, but you either went to work for, Richard Ducato had a huge entity down here or a bank, but nobody was kind of offering, boutique lending or specialized lending where you could kind of create that mix. And I mean, back then we had to deal with these AEs, true AEs, account reps, like coming to your door every day. And, we literally had to deliver a paper file to the account manager to get it funded. And it was just a different time, but it was an opportunity that presented itself where my father and another gentleman, our third partner, were creating this kind of right at the perfect timing where I got out of college and wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I was actually had a job with Wells Fargo and the title was something outrageous, man. It sounded like, I was just up there with the CFOs and I think it was like 45 grand a year and right out of college. I mean, you couldn't tell me nothing, dude. I was balling. And shortly thereafter, I realized it was data entry and it was me and a lot of nice African-American ladies in cubicles down in, Wells Fargo number 3. And it was cool, but I'm not a bird that needs to be in a cage, man. So my dad was like, hey, we're starting this. I can teach you, but there's no guarantee. And most everyone thought like, oh, your dad started this company. You guys did it together. He's silver. Like, dude, it was commission, straight commission, like no base, never, not once a salary. So from early on, it's feast or famine, right? And that's the college, I played college football. And so that was that like, yeah, cool. Give me a challenge. I'll figure out how to make some money on this, but I'm not scared to outwork anybody. And I think a lot of the new people that come in, they don't understand the work ethic that the old OGs have because there was no technology. Was no AI. There was no apps that, do their self. It was hand applications, dude. We had to go get our initial loan docs. Those were wet signs at people's house, at gas stations, at freaking in the parking lot. Like it was a job back then. So I'm thankful I started in that time because blood, sweat, and tears. But it was a grind.
Yeah, we so a couple episodes here where like we call them the OGs. So I'm glad you brought that up, right? So like people like Jason Helmenthaler and he was like and Ryan Charles were talking about how the industry, like the biggest change that they've seen, obviously technology. And I'm like, you know what? It's crazy how much it's progressed. I can't even imagine since 2007, 2008. Because when did you start in the industry?
Yeah, like right then. I graduated college '05, so it would have been '06.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So like just the change since they've seen, I'm like, wait, hey, I got in this industry in 2016 and I still used to go and meet every single client and we would wet sign every single disclosure, the initial loan app, right? And it's like 100 and some odd pages and you just sitting there and you're going through it with them and a loan app would take like 2 hours and that's after I already had their information. That's, like I had to get all that over the phone, find a printer. And now it's hilarious, dude. The printer that we have here in our office isn't even plugged in. like I don't even know if we have ink, right? I mean, it's insane just that and how much it's done to not just make life easier for us, obviously, but in turn, the consumer. We still meet with every single one of our clients. I'm sure you do as well, whether it's Zoom, probably Zoom, or it's just over the phone. But it makes life so much more simpler for them, where they're not having to come, we come to this loan app meeting or just a pre-approval, and it's like, yeah, let me bust out your file here. And it's like literally a file, and you're sitting there at a Panera Bread for 2 hours, right? I mean, who's got time for that? So it's crazy just to see what it's done the past 10 years, and think about what it's going to be in the next 10 years is kind of, mind boggling.
Yeah. And I mean, you said who's got time for that, but I had a customer literally yesterday, Mr. Hill, nice old gentleman, and he couldn't figure out how to text me his retirement statement. So he showed up at my office, and it's been a while since a customer showed up at my office. He actually got up early and played golf, and, actually super jealous of, his schedule. But did I have time for that? Not really. But man, we sat there for 30 minutes and I helped him and we just talked, and it was refreshing because
It felt good.
we do get in this business because we're people. We're people persons, right? Like we're that's our job, right? Create conversations, engage, build trust. And if you look back to the way we used to do it, we got to build that trust early on because we sat eye to eye and we engaged and we saw emotion and we answered questions real time, and we signed documents and we explained them. I mean, I could do a closing with my eyes closed, literally, because we've done that for so long, explaining the documents. Now, who knows what they e-sign? Nobody. They just click through that stuff and hope it's right. But it allowed me just to take a step back and remember that these are customers. They're humans with needs and energy, and sometimes they just want to be not only heard but seen, right? Can I come by your office? Yeah, we're a local lender, man. We're community focused, and I would love for you to come by. Now, did my schedule really have room for that? No, but that was the most important thing I did yesterday, and it really grounded me because it reminded me we're here to serve our customers. And not every customer wants to text and Zoom and email. Some need help. So I feel like that sets us apart because we do have a local office and we're not West Coast or wherever, a call center. We're real people that can bring a real value. And sometimes, especially with our elderly, and, I said elderly, this guy was in his 60s, but they don't like technology, right? Yeah. So, but they do like loans, and that's what we do. So it was just refreshing just to kind of it really took me back to exactly what we're talking about. But it was honestly refreshing just to see a customer in person live.
Yeah. And it's, so what we've changed at our branch on our team, and I started doing this it was probably about 2 years ago, because I noticed during COVID, obviously you couldn't meet anybody, and I made jokes, and it's not even a joke. I've probably done 3 or 4 purchases where I talked to them only via Facebook Messenger. Never talked to them on the phone, never called them. They just literally only messaged me on Facebook, right? Wild. And I started noticing this whole our business is built off of relationships. And if I can't sit there and meet with somebody face to face, or just even on Zoom, so you don't even get, it's very rare unless it's a very urgent situation, but you don't even get your pre-approval letter until we at least sit on a 5-10 minute Zoom. I want to say hi. I want to introduce myself. I want to go over every single thing. I mean, especially a first-time home buyer. Now, if it's somebody that's like, hey, we're listing our house and now there's a house for sale, we want to put an offer in, and they've gone through it. I'm like, all right, well, here's your pre-approval letter. Monday morning, we're jumping on a Zoom call, or at least a phone call. We need to, talk. This is the whole. Purchasing a home is not just an analytical numbers decision, right? There's so much, and I don't have to preach it to you, but we're advisors. We're not just transactional loan officers. And the second that we weren't doing that initial, either sitting down in person or over Zoom, it lost that relationship aspect of it. And then there was no trust built. And then anything I would tell them, they would question and why. And it's like, yeah, we need to go back to the way that it was. And what's wild is I think that the first-time home buyers, like the Gen Zs, the young 20-year-olds, are so open to meeting in person. They're the ones that are like, hey, can we stop in your office? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I have any water or the printer isn't plugged in, but yeah, sure. Come on in. Right. Yeah. So it's funny to see how it's kind of transitioning back a little bit, but it's super important because you're right. We're in the community. We're local lenders. We have a billboard that just went live that's going all across where we live that says born here, live here, work here. Right. It's truly like a motto that we live by. And it's refresh. I love that story, but it is whether it's Zoom or in person, like meeting in person, being that advisor, that just makes this business like that much more rewarding and the process that much better.
Well, and our job is not only to close loans, but it's to build trust and gain, the confidence that these people will refer us, right?
Yeah.
The next deal is based on how you took care of the current customer, right? I feel like too many of us in this position are always chasing real estate agents. And it's like, man, that's right. We have to take care of them and serve them. But the sphere of that customer that you just closed, when you ask for that business and you've done the job right, there's no more rewarding feeling than getting a text like, hey, it's Mr. Jones. I'm going to send you my neighbor or my brother or my sister or something like that. But I try to go to my closing still. COVID killed that, right? And at that point, it was impossible. We were closing too many loans. And then after that, we were still closing too many loans during the refinance. But we lose sight of the fact that, when we go to a restaurant, everyone jokes like I'm the mayor of our town, right? And I take pride in that, but it's because I know their face, I know their name, I know their story, and I care about that. I care about the people. If I don't know what these people look like, I may walk right past my customer and they know me and I don't know who they are. That's disrespectful, man.
Yeah.
The real estate agents get to show them the houses, go in the cars, go to lunch, right? Like the technology era has taken the ability from us to actually know who our customer is, right? We know them as a name and maybe what their driver's license looks like. But if we're not getting on Zoom or making a point to see them or attend the closing, how can you say hello to them when you see them in the community, right?
Yeah.
So, and people love that, right? And it's a lot. It's a big time suck, if you will, from my schedule, but I know that if I go to that closing and I bring a gift and my only purpose is there just to say hello, I always say, I'm just here to tell a few jokes. And if we need to, get a correction, I'm here, but that's what they remember. My lender came to the closing and gave me a gift and shook my hand or gave me a hug or gave my wife flowers. That's where we leave that transaction. So that's super impactful. And, ALCOVA's word of the year is empower this year. Like that's empowering that customer. And then we have a quick conversation and I say, my ask is if you know anyone, just send them to us. Right. So that's, we control the narrative at the end. We don't usually get to be there for we're not there to see the house when they fall in love with it and envision their whole family, but we're there when it closes. And if your real estate agent partner is also there, locks in that deal as well.
Yeah, I always say that we're the not fun part of the transaction, right? And I try to make it as fun as I can. I try to either cut a joke or like make it entertaining or whatever I can. I always say, like, whenever I meet them, I'm like, listen, I'm not the one that gets to give you the keys. I'm not the one that made you fall in love with this house or opened the door for you and negotiated and got it for your family. I'm the one that's going to come talk to you about 30 years or 15 years worth of debt and make you pay it back, right? Like, so like, I'm going to try. I'm also like, even the appraiser, everybody like, unless the appraisal comes in low, they're all like, oh, the appraiser did such a good job on this one. I'm like, okay, nobody said anything about, okay, hold on. All right. So it's, and that's it. If you're not, again, goes back to that relationship transactional thing. And I've said that so many episodes of this podcast, but the relationship aspect, like being excited, being empathetic, being like the day that I'm not excited that a first time home buyer gets under contract is the day that I'm going to go find another job. Right. Like, and because I still remember, which now I'm like starting to sound like my dad, my grandpa. I remember when I bought my first house and how excited I was. And my loan officer, she was doing it for like 35 years and she was more excited than I was. And she still is to this day. I think she's like in her mid 70s and she's still like, I talk to her all the time and she's like still excited when a first time home buyer, gets under contract. Like that's exactly what it should be. Cause, an app on a phone, like we have an app and I love our app, but an app on our phone with somebody with a headset and they're probably on the West Coast or wherever they are, like they don't care. They don't care. Who knows? They're actually looking out what's for best for your family. Cause you and I haven't even talked about the whole advising part because everybody just thinks, well, it's a mortgage. It's a 30-year note. I got it. Like there's so much more that goes into it. How am I supposed to do that when you don't trust me and I'm not sitting there in front of you and advising you when I'm just sending you documents and saying, all right, good luck. Hey, well, I'll let you know when the appraisal's back. Like, it's just a lot of loan officers, I think in this industry, a lot of companies in this industry don't have that part of their culture or that mindset. And, I've said it so many times, but every single loan officer, every single employee. I mean, you were just recording a podcast before this, and where you talked about like reminding and people that this is people getting a mortgage, families buying their forever home or their starter home, and it's not just numbers on a piece of paper.
Yeah, man. And it's a passion, and it's a passion to serve. So I think the excitement comes from like we helped you do this. Like,
Yeah.
can you believe it? Like, and it is, man. We had a brand new loan officer who joined our team. She was actually a customer, and she was like, "Hey, what do you guys do? I think I could do this." And we were like, "Yeah, let's get a license and try it." And she, within like 30 days, got her first closing. And I just texted her. I said, "Hey, call me on your way home." And she was like, "What? Did I do something wrong?" I said, "No. Like, tell me how you feel." And she was like, "I'm not gonna lie, that was a rush." And I was like, "It is a rush." Like, and you get it, right? Like, you're gonna be really good, because if it's boring and stale and you could care less, you're in the wrong industry. But if you get that rush, and I think that's, she comes from, excuse me, a background where, numbers matter and things matter, but taking care of people is what's most important. And I think that's the rush, right? Is like, can you believe this? Like, we're all here together.
Yeah.
And when you have that energy, that's contagious too. So real estate agents want to work with people that are like them and like the same things, and then get the job done. And I think that's something where too many loan officers go on Reddit and just chase numbers, right? Oh, whales, big top producers. Man, you got to find people that you get along with first and foremost.
Yeah.
I mean, I've actually had to fire some of my best real estate agent partners over the years because we didn't get along, and it was silly. And like, I'd see my phone ring and I'd be like, "Oh my God," and I'm like, what am I doing? Right.
Bro, I tell the story all the time.
The perfect real estate agent are the ones who are like my friends. Like, I've been to their weddings. They're over at my house. We go to church together. Like, we're just doing life together. That also happens to be business, taking care of people. But the quicker you can understand that a referral partner is a friend and an extension of you, then they refer you as, "Oh, this is my good buddy, but he also does loans," right? That's where you got to get. And not every agent and lender are going to be compatible. And that's super cool, because there's lots of us out here, especially in, like, I'm in the Charlotte market where you guys are at. Like, there's lots of them. But a lot of people are getting out of the business right now because it's not as easy as it once was, and it's a little bit more fragile. But we got to focus on those connections. And if you don't go meet with your real estate agents in person and ask qualifying questions about life and, topics that may come up at some point that could be divisive, then you both can't serve that customer if you're not on the same page as far as that connection. But that's something that took me a long time to understand, because it's hard to get people to send you loans. But if you don't like doing business with those people, and they essentially don't like doing business with you, you got to call a timeout and just have that conversation.
Right. And so you mentioned something that kind of ties into this a couple minutes ago about like talking about your sphere. Have you ever read the book Tribes by Seth Godin?
I have not, but I am familiar with it. But I've heard lots of things about it.
Love that book, and it's a quick read, right? You could probably do it in the evening. Maybe, well, it depends how fast you read, but I got ADHD, so like I read like 4 pages. I gotta go back and read what I just said, which is read. But so he talks about how we're like we need to be the leader of our tribe, and we're part of so many tribes, right? So which kind of goes into your sphere. But when I read that book, I was like, this is unbelievable. Yeah, I am. I'm a part of a tribe of boy dads, right? I play golf, so I'm a part of a golf tribe, and I'm not very good at it, but I like to pretend I am, right? But the biggest one is that we realize in our business, like, I am part of a massive mortgage tribe that extends out to other people's tribes, and people look to me to be the leader of that tribe. And when I read that book, I started realizing, like, yeah, real estate agents are a part of my tribe, and also other referral partners. All my clients are, my family, my friends are, and they look to me to lead and be the leader of the mortgage tribe. And I was like not doing a very good job about that at all. And I'm like, so I started taking notes, and I started like thinking about, like, okay, we always think about our sphere of people that we need to know, but there's also this big tribe of my real estate agents, and some of them, unfortunately, some of those agents that are in my tribe, I don't really work with really well. And they may look to me for guidance, but they may not refer me because they don't feel like they're part of my tribe. So it goes back to like inside of my sphere or inside of my tribe, the real estate agents that respect me, that lean in on me, that are just a true partnership. They look for me to lead, and that makes that referral process so much easier because we're an extension of the real estate agent, right? Like we refer people we like, love, and trust. So if I can't have, break bread with a real estate agent, if I can't go, I always say like every single partner of mine, I would go on like a vacation with, and then all they hear is like, "Hey, we're going on vacation." I'm like, no, not a chance. But like I will.
Sorry,
like,
RESPA says we can't do that. Or else
that's what I mean.
would.
Like, I can meet you there if you want to, but I'm not buying you a beer. But it's like I would go to battle with them, right? And that's what they talk about in the book as well. Like, you're going to go to battle with your tribe, and that's that true partnership that you have to look for. And so many new like loan officers just don't understand that. They just want to go get every single deal that they can, which is a great mindset, right? Like we have to wake up every single morning and go earn our paycheck, but at the end of the day, if you can't have that true partnership and where there's that respect both ways, like it's just not going to work out for you.
And what I'm hearing in kind of my interpretation of exactly what you're saying is you have to be authentic to yourself, and
100%.
we're uniquely different in what we value as, a passion or a hobby. So like when I was a young loan officer, and everyone's in a different season of life, right? And that's what makes it so cool. But when I was young and getting into it, it was networking groups. Like I was in every networking group, but not only real estate, like that's where I got my passion for real estate investing and for flipping and for thinking outside the box. In people that join those groups, they're not all real estate agents, but they all have a passion for real estate. And then since I did play college football and that career ended, but I wanted to stay close to the game. I would coach, right? So I didn't have any kids, but I was just always a youth coach. I found tons of energy in that. But guess what? I was connected. My business was associated with it. We would sponsor the team. That would build trust, and they saw how authentic I was. Then I became a football official in the high school and college level. That sphere is all kinds of independent, mainly business owners or people that have a flexible schedule to travel to a football game, here, there, and everywhere. And that led to tons of business. And then I became married and had kids, and my time was more important for my family. Well, then here comes youth sports again, but with my kids, right? I had tons of energy towards that, but they see who we are. And now my son races, and we're in the racing community, and we sponsor the track, and we help put on events, and we're known as the trusted mortgage lender in the local racing community, and even up into the NASCAR ranks. Like people associate ALCOVA Mortgage with us because we're local, but it's because I believe in it, and I put my time and my investment into that sphere. And you're going to find people that you like and who like you. And then somebody always knows a real estate agent, but more importantly, somebody always knows somebody that needs a loan, right? And the more you put out there, hey, I do loans. I help people get houses, investment houses. There's so much energy around all of that right now. But the sphere that you put yourself in the middle of, that's what you have to decide. And you can't go half in here and half in there. Like, it's full commit, man. Be on the board, right? Go the extra mile. Be the giver, everything's 80-20, right? So, be the person that's going all in for those groups, and you'll get business in return. But more importantly, you'll get connections and life connections that will continue to flourish and grow over time. And then you wake up and you're doing your job, but you're really just talking to your friends on the phone. Yep. And, that's not a bad gig.
It's not a bad gig. Listen, the goal that I set for myself, and that's where I noticed my business take off, and then I have my entire staff, find a way to have 5 quality conversations per day, right? I didn't say have 5 quality conversations with referral partners. I said 5 quality conversations because you're right. Somebody knows somebody, whether it's them or it's family member, it's a friend that's going to need a mortgage. And I love like the LinkedIn aspect of it. So a lot of people don't spend much time on LinkedIn. I need to spend more time, but there's second and third degree connections, and people didn't understand that. And I'm like, yeah, a second degree connection means that they're connected with somebody that you are also connected with. So they're outside of your sphere. How do you work your way into their sphere? Well, have a conversation with them, right? So and it's like you said, everybody seems to know a real estate agent. So if I have 5 conversations per day, and especially if they're new conversations, or maybe like I haven't talked to this person in a while, they're going to know somebody that's going to need to use you, or they're going to want, again, not every single person is you're going to have a great relationship with, but there's a great chance that you're going to end up having a quality conversation, and it's going to lead to, hey, come to this networking event, or hey, we're doing this. I'd love to have you come sponsor a youth tournament or something like that. That you maybe your kids play a sport, and you go and sponsor that, and now you get to meet all these people. So it's literally, at the end of the day, what can we do to have 5 quality conversations? And that is just the name of the game. And it's harder, and it goes back to what we were saying now in our industry where everything's virtual, and it's almost like we're going back to where a loan officer thinks I'm just going to sit here and wait for my phone to ring, and that's not good enough anymore. We have to go out and make that phone ring. But it's expanding your sphere is huge. And I love how you said it. Like you have so many different spheres.
And here's a pro tip, right? Wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, notice the sponsorships in the banners. In my season of life is youth sports, racetracks, things like that. But put wherever you're at, there, an event, local, there's a sponsor. I promise you there's 1, if not 2, real estate agents and insurance people. And so take a screenshot, or take a picture on your phone and call them and just say, hey, I saw you at the ballpark. What got you into that? It's going to do 2 things. Number 1, most of these are just empty checks we write. Yeah, okay, I'll sponsor the league. I'll sponsor this. It's promotional. It's not marketing, right? Like we don't really value, there's not an expected ROI on that. Like we're not buying a lead. We're just supporting somebody asked.
Right.
But they're going to be excited that you noticed that, right? Because, oh, wow, that's cool. And you never know where that conversation's going to go. But that's the first thing I'm doing is I'm at a baseball field, a soccer field, or wherever a youth sports thing, or at the track. I'm checking out the sponsors. Oh, there's an insurance guy. Oh, there's a real estate agent. Hey, I saw you at the track. Oh, that's my brother's nephew. Oh, wait. Okay, well, that's cool. Yeah, we go there every time. Oh, are you going to come? Right. So like, if you're intentional in where you're at and you're looking for the clues, they're usually right there in front of you. We're just not, our eyes aren't trained to kind of see that stuff. But I promise you, that's a super cool connection because they're already involved in something that you're at. They've written a check, which means they get it. And they're going to be super excited that someone saw that and just called to say, hey, if nothing else, just say, thanks for sponsoring that. I do too, whatever. But that's an easy introductory call just to kind of break some ice with somebody that's in our industry.
Think how easy that call is, because I don't care what anybody says, nobody likes cold calling, dude. If somebody comes up, some salesman, they're like, oh, I love cold calling. Like, no, you don't.
Liar.
No, you don't, right? There's nothing better than having a great organic conversation that so you're right. I don't know this insurance agent. I don't know this company. I don't know who this person is, but I'm like, hey, I saw your advertisement. Whatever it is, I advertise there too. My son's a 7-year-old playing soccer on the field too. That's great. Like, what's your connection? That's such an easy conversation. And like we do all I have my own personal podcast. I make all the reels. I'll sponsor events. We host events. We do charity events, all for one thing and one thing only. So it makes those 5 conversations that I haven't had with somebody new more organic. And yes, I want to give back to the community, of course, but this is such an easier way to give back to the community, to also then help my business and get to know people, because this business is all just about knowing people.
Man, and it's brand awareness, right? That's why we do it. So if you recognize somebody else's brand and call and just give them a shout out and want to hear their story, right? A lot of times we want to just force our narrative out really quick up front. But if you call and just listen and hear what they say, then you're going to actually understand who they are and what they are. And that's when you can start to establish like, hey, where's this going? But the root of it is, we want to support our community in every way we can, but selfishly for the business, we want people to know, like our job is for people to know that we do loans, right? when we have a random conversation, hey, what do you do? In the back of my mind, I'm like, man, I can't wait till they ask me what I do, because they're going to. And then I get to tell them, I get to help people's dreams come true. How do you do that? Well, American dream, right? Home. But other people that sponsor events and, especially youth, right? And going back to the sphere, kids are a huge connection. Now, if you don't have kids, you're going to have to figure out where your social channel is, but everybody's most important thing is their kids. And when you're sponsoring that event and other businesses are, they either have a kid or they had a kid or their sister has a kid, but there's a connection as to why they're choosing to spend their business dollars right there. And it hit me when I was at the racetrack. I mean, there's 60 cars at the racetrack. Guess what's on the side of every single car? Sponsorships, right?
Yep.
And they would literally zoom by me and I never took the time to look. And I'd be like, oh, dang, that one's got a real estate agent. Oh, dang, that one's got a real estate agent. Well, maybe I should just reach out to them. Hey, I saw you on, DeMarco's car. Oh yeah, that's so cool. Right? Like, they're so excited because somebody saw their brand in a place that they strategically put it because they have a passion about wherever that is. So,
Yeah.
I think that's a easy, going back to your 5 calls a day, right? Like, wherever you're at this weekend, I mean, even at a local diner, they still have business cards on the menus. Go to the grocery store, they still have a bulletin board where people put their card. If somebody does that, they're saying, hey, call me, I'll answer. I'm right here in front of you.
Right. Yeah. And I love the brand awareness, Lisa, because so I obviously I call myself the bearded banker. I do not have any checking accounts to offer you. I don't even talk to me about a credit card. Don't ask me anything about a CD, right? But I want somebody, when they think about banking or they think about a credit card or they think anything related to lending, to call me and reach out. So it's the more that we get our name out and the more that it's twofold. I get to help the community and I also get to put my name out there and get my brand out there. So that way when people, you might not be at a racetrack thinking like, you know what, I should probably refinance. No, maybe not. But at the same time, they're going to see that logo, they're going to see your name. And then when, even if just somebody refers them to you, I remember seeing that. I mean, it's twofold. So no, I love that. But I want to touch on something here real quick because it's going to be interesting. You played college football, and I have talked ad nauseum about how, first off, to play at the college level, whether it's I don't know how you guys have it down there. You said in Virginia or North Carolina, wherever it was, but we have like Division I and Division II and Division III in Ohio, obviously Division I AA and stuff like that. But 1% of high school athletes go on to play 1% of high school athletes go on to play college sports. And it is such a commitment and it is such a drive that is so hard, especially like when I was in high school. Like it wasn't cool to try. Like we called kids tryhards. Like, why are you trying so hard, dude? And it's such a toxic thing to think about now, but I was guilty of it. I'm like, why are you trying so hard? And those people that were trying hard probably went on to play collegiate sports. And what was it, at what point, so in high school, did you realize like, hey, I'm going to probably take this to the next level?
So I was blessed with size. I was a big kid. I was not blessed with speed or no one ever said, man, that guy's just a freaking natural super athlete, right? But I was a grinder. And I loved it, man. Like I loved being the toughest dude in the room and I took pride in that. So I found a lot of confidence in the weight room. I was like, all right, I'm a big dude, but I'm not going to beat anyone in a foot race. I mean, I was fast enough to play in college, right? So, I mean, I had a little bit of speed, but like, I'm going to outwork you, right? And that was, at Power Up, that wrestler Caleb talked about like that dark space, man, and like that was the weight room for me, man. And I had one in my garage and just training drills. Like, how can I get a little bit better? Because I wasn't blessed with all the gifts to get to the next level. But when I flipped that switch mentally, it was like, I want to play college and I'm good enough, but I have to outwork everybody else out there to get this opportunity. That routine and that commitment and that drive, I think it comes from, I come from a long family line on both sides of entrepreneurs, right? So like the way you're raised has a lot to do with it, right? And it's not like it's not like, it's I guess a gift to some degree, but it's also like you see how hard your parents and your grandparents work to get the things that they
Yep.
want. And at that point in time, I wasn't working, but it was like, hey, if you want to go to college, then you better get up early before school. You better stay late. You better do all the things. You better, if it says 10 reps, you better do 12 because you need to do 12. And I'm so thankful that I did that. And I wanted to play D1. I could have played D1, had offers for D1, and I blew my shoulder out and I had to have a surgery, right? And that was detrimental in my junior year. But I made a decision that I have to have this surgery. My dad backed me, my mom backed me, and it worked out exactly how God needed it to work out for my plan. I wasn't ready to go D1, but I went 1AA and went to a college called Gardner-Webb University, and I met my lifelong friends. I'm still friends with them. We won a lot of football games, and it was just small enough to where I found that balance. I was lucky enough to play college, but there was not much chance at anything more than that. But I just needed to get to that next level to get my mind and, just get that power of tell me I can't, I'm gonna show you I can, right? So that led right into a good, that's the energy you need for sales and anything, but especially for in lending. It's like, all right, cool. You know, a challenge, a turn down, you're gonna hang up on me, bro. That ain't nothing. That ain't slowing me down. Are you kidding me? Like that's just fueling my fire.
Yeah, and I would say that it has to set you up perfectly to become a loan officer because it makes you realize you got to put in the work. That's the one thing about this job is you have to put in the work, and you could tell the loan officers that are not putting in the work because they're sitting there complaining about this, that, and the other, about loan programs, about business is slow and whatever. And instead, the ones that are successful are putting their head down and, all right, what do I have to do? What can I control? What do I need? Like you said, if it says 10 reps, you do 12, you do 20, whatever it is. And you get in the weight room, you work, you're working weekends, you're working nights, you're on vacation with your family, you're taking phone calls and you're doing this and that, right? You're doing what you need to do to get the job done. And then also playing a team sport like that, you understand the importance of delegating or the importance of you have a specific role. Because what position did you play?
I played tight end in college.
Tight end.
Yep.
So you have your specific job that you have to do, right? Especially for you, whether I'm blocking on this play or I'm out, running a route on this play, and you have to be the best at your role, understand what your job is, and trust that your teammates are the best at their job and their role to get the job done, right? And that's something that I talked a lot about this on the last episode with Taylor Croy, where it was like, if you can't trust your team in this industry, nobody uses Stephen Knorr. Nobody uses you because you know how to take a picture of a pay stub and upload it to their file, right? Not a chance. Not a chance, dude. No, I know for a fact nobody uses you to see how well you can get that loan through Encompass and out the door, right? Nope, nobody cares. But your team is the best at it, and you know that, and you're able to delegate it, and that's what's able, because that's one thing that I know a lot of loan officers struggle with. I know a lot of companies struggle with, in which our culture here is everybody has a role. And I've said this on the last episode. I remember when I came to ALCOVA before I was working here, and I'm like talking to, I always forget his name, but talking to the appraisal desk, and they leave the room, and I'm like, were they loan officers before? And they're like, no. I'm like, they sounded like they were. Like they originated at some point, but everybody understands their role and they're the best at it. And then you're able to delegate that and take your business to the next step.
Yeah, man. And that's been, this is year 21 or whatever for me, but the challenge has been, any star athlete, right? It's all about you. You're the star, and then you become not as good as the next generation. And then what's your next season, right? So, Michael Jordan talked about ego, right? Like it's a bad thing if you let it, but you can't, no one that's great at anything, they have an ego, but it's what do you do with that, right? And so now it's kind of like, all right, I'm not the player anymore. I'm more like the coach. Well, I didn't train to be a coach. I didn't train to be a leader. You just have some of those attributes, but you really have to focus and hone in. So I've hired a business coach to help be the best, boss and leader.
Yep.
And we've hired people and made partnerships in the ALCOVA team is an absolute partnership, right? People are like, what's ALCOVA? I'm like, oh man, it's the mothership, but it's the best people, and their culture is so important to our mission because we're aligned 100%. I don't worry about, when people say like, how quick can you close a loan? I'm like, how quick do you want me to? I don't know. That's not a concern of mine. Like if your other lender, you have to ask that question, it's the wrong lender. But believing in the system, no salesperson can sell anything they don't believe in, right? They're going to call your BS immediately because they can tell right away that, number one, you don't know what you're talking about and you're just trying to sell a bill of goods. So when we have that conversation as, our team, our branch, our region, the partnership with ALCOVA is instrumental in the belief that we have. But I have no concerns about closing loans. Like I want to talk about how do we build business together? How do we do events together? Like closing loans is the easy part, man. Finding the next customer is the challenge, but becoming that, making it not about me, but about the team, right? And that's what I tell people. Hey, if you call me and ask me a question about this loan, I will have no clue, but let me introduce you to Gracie and Jason and Ashley and Mason and everybody who does this that's their job. That's who you need to talk to, right? Selfishly, that's a hard give up because that's what I've done forever. And that's what I love doing. But in order to serve the team and the customer, you have to tell the truth. And that's one thing we 100% focus on is telling the truth. And if you tell the truth and you have a clear system and there's direction, it's not a pass off, it's a handoff, right? Like, hey, here's the ball, but you need to be right here because they're going to take care of you. I'm going to see you at this event so we can go grow, but transactionally, here's the team that's going to help you get to the finish line. And it's built this way for you, right?
I love that analogy. I always use it like a surgeon, right? The surgeon gets all the credit. The surgeon, I consider it almost like I'm the surgeon. I'm going to come in, I'm going to consult with you, I'm going to diagnose the issue, but you don't, you're not asking me how much anesthesia. What is it, like the anesthesiologist? How much they still have left, right? Or we got 30 minutes left on the anesthesia. I don't know, right? Don't ask me that. But the surgeon is the one that gets associated with the surgery, and how many people are in that room? 10, 15? I don't know. I'm always asleep.
There it is.
I have surgery. So, I don't know.
Good thing
I
not
have no
to
clue.
know.
But right, and I love the football analogy too. It's kind of true, right? The quarterback's always the one that gets the name in the paper. They're the ones that get the post game interview. But if I'm the one that turned off and hand the ball off to the running back, for some reason we're not interviewing the left guard that was out there, right? The guard that pulled and set the block that was able to get the back around into the end zone, but we interview the quarterback or the coach or, hey, what happened? Hey, well, there's so many people on our team. And as a loan officer, you have to realize that and it was mind-boggling easy when I started at ALCOVA to just let them. I mean, I remember my first loan getting clear to close. I'm like, wait, what? Like, what? Hold on a second. And I was able to take a step back and actually entrust my team. And it's been like just, I love how you said that. Like if you're loan officer, if you're asking how soon can you quick a loan or close a loan, I've gotten that from my agent because we're in a situation where it's like, hey, we need this closed in 20 days or 18 days. Can you do it? Yeah, all right, come on, we'll do it. Of course, we'll do it. But if that's a brand new real estate agent and you're asking me, how quickly can you close a loan? I'm like, man, it sounds like you in a toxic relationship right now. Like that might not be, why don't we sit down and have a cup of coffee, right? But no, I love that analogy, the football one, but absolutely. ALCOVA has built this like great culture that, and I love how you say like they're the mothership, right? It's like we get to be that boutique lender, that local lender, and they're the ones that are the back end. Love it. The mothership that's taking care of all the operations stuff. That way that loan can get closed with my team and my staff that I've developed. That way you get that great service, and I'm helping you as a partner, like, my real estate partners. Let's go get that other loan. Let's get that new buyer in. Let's go educate. Let's do a lunch and learn. Let's do a community event, whatever it may be. So I don't have to worry about the loans getting closed and your customers getting taken care of.
And, for people that, are watching this who are loan officers, we've talked about, seasons and things like that. Like there's a trajectory in this business, right? And it's based on units and volume, but you have to have 100 calls to get 50 applications to get 10 pre-approvals to get 5 contracts, right?
Yep.
So we come in this as, ego-driven people. Hey, it's me, right? I'm going to do all this. It's my business, right? But when you get to a certain point, you're either going to ride that roller coaster and have a high month and then go straight down to zero because you do it all, or you're going to take your ego and put it to the side and say, man, I'm having so much success. I'm blessed right now, but I need some help because I want to serve more people. I want to do more, right? But you have to believe in the team that you put together and empower them, or else you're going to go backwards because you can't do it all. And that's okay. And that's one of the hardest things to just understand and take a deep breath and say, man, I need a little bit of help. That is why ALCOVA is here. They are here to help make you better. And I also tell people, not everybody wants to be a top producer. That's not everybody's goal. But whatever you are, your goal should be a little bit more than last year, whatever that number is, right? So just understand the process, right? But at some point, you're going to have to say, okay, I have to give up certain tasks so that I can focus on the task I need to do. What does that look like? And you can't do it half, you know what, right? Like you got to go all in and then you got to build that system. So the system that you put in place for your business is going to be different from mine and Ryan's and Hemi's, but it all works. And that's what's so cool. There is not one way that's better than the other because they're all uniquely different to the market. But the common thing is probably understanding where you're at and where you want to go, and then creating the systems and the partnerships and trusting that that's going to work, and then believing in it, building it, tweaking it, and going back and looking. Because if you don't analyze and track data, you have no idea what's coming in. And my dad was an absolute geek Excel guru. And I mean, I still have it in me, right? Luckily we have, better programs in Excel, but like he was a data fanatic. And that's something that I think gets lost is you have to track data, right? You have to understand where's your business coming from, how many, why, when, so you can thank those people, number one, right? Because if you're not telling them thank you, they're going to stop sending you business. But that's where, from the business side, you have to treat it like a business. We are all our own boss of our business. And you have to understand that. You have to breathe that, sleep that, and own that, or else you're going to go nowhere. No one's going to do it for you. Yeah. It's your business.
Yeah, love that. I love it. Well, let's we're gonna wrap it up here. I want to get before we leave though. I always ask this, and you had no idea I was gonna ask this. So are you ready? What do you think it takes in 2026? What do you think it takes to be great? Because you did mention, you quoted the second best basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan. So what do you think it takes? I mean, listen, I got a 330 area code. I'm right outside Akron. LeBron lives right down the road here. Well, whatever.
I understand. We have a 23 jersey hanging in our shop, but I get it. If I was in that area, I'd probably have a different opinion.
Yeah, I have a 23 jersey too, the real 23. But anyway, so... But LeBron didn't play against plumbers and mailmen, all right? So what do you think it takes to be great in 2026? Because this industry changes, man. We said that at the beginning, and we said think about how this industry has changed since 2007, how much it's changed since 2019, how much it's changed since 2022. What do you think it's going to take to be great in 2026?
Man, that's a powerful question. My brain starts firing on understanding the technology, but not letting it replace the purpose of what we do, which is communicate and build relationships, right? We cannot hide behind the technology and be invisible in this transaction. That's what AI bots will do, who's going to be the competition. So we have to remain visible to our spheres, to our people, and to our community. We have to get out and do events. We have to get out and support other businesses. We have to get out and go to local restaurants and keep them in business, right? Like we're all small businesses together, right? And we're fighting the masses. So to be great in anything right now is just understanding like I say out loud, we are not a transactional lender. But then sometimes at work, I sure act like a transactional lender, right? Like I have to be relationship focused. I have to go above and beyond to cater and care for those relationships, nurture and build them, and create that second and third wave of business from that sphere. But that is, I think people want, like, they want community, man. Like they want to break bread. Like I think people are sick of working from home. I think they're sick of Zooms and screens, man. Like I think people just want to get out and live life and do things and just have fun. And that will allow you to be great, in my opinion.
Yeah, love that answer. Love it, dude. Well, I appreciate you joining. And then, like I said, if you want me to send you a signed 23 jersey to replace that one, just let me know, right?
No, I'm MJ for life, baby. We're a different age bracket, man. So there's only we both will say the same thing. There's only 123, and one of us is wrong, but.
And it's LeBron James. Got it. Okay. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you joining. This was fun. This was a great conversation.
Absolutely, man.
And yeah, man, we'll take care and go write some loans, right?
All right. See you, big guy.
We'll see you.
This is the standard. This is the work. This is the mindset behind the results. Build not bought, earn not given.